I remember the night clearly when I sat in the living room, holding a cup of tea I hadn't even sipped from. My hands were trembling, and my heart raced with a mixture of fear and guilt. I had been hiding something from my husband for far too long, and the weight of it was crushing me every single day. I knew if I didn't confess, it would eventually eat me alive and destroy whatever trust we had left. He came home later than usual, tired from work, but still with that calm and caring smile that always greeted me. I looked at him and wondered how he would react after hearing the truth. Would that smile disappear forever? Would he walk away from me and never look back? These thoughts made my throat tighten, but I forced myself to sit him down because the truth couldn't stay hidden any longer. "I need to tell you something," I said softly, avoiding his eyes. He looked at me curiously, sensing the seriousness in my voice. "It's important." My words seemed to fill the room with silence heavier than any storm. He nodded, encouraging me to continue, but my lips trembled. For a moment, I almost convinced myself to stay quiet again, but I knew I couldn't. The confession came out slowly, like ripping apart a wound that had been bandaged too long. I told him about the mistakes I had made, about the times I had been dishonest with him, and how I had carried the guilt for months. My voice cracked more than once, and at one point, I couldn't stop the tears from rolling down my cheeks. I thought each tear was another reason for him to hate me. He didn't interrupt me while I spoke. He just sat there, listening intently, his face unreadable. That silence scared me more than shouting ever could. I finished my confession with a whisper. "I'm so sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I couldn't keep this from you anymore." The moment stretched between us, heavy and suffocating. I dared not look up at him, fearing the anger or disappointment I might find. My entire body was tense, waiting for a storm to break. And then, to my surprise, he took a deep breath and leaned back in his chair. "I already suspected something," he said calmly. My heart dropped at those words. "But I wanted to hear it from you. And now you finally told me." His tone wasn't sharp or cruel, but steady. That steadiness made me cry even harder because I couldn't understand why he wasn't yelling or walking out. I finally lifted my eyes to him, expecting to see a man broken beyond repair, but instead, I saw a man fighting to remain strong. His eyes were tired, yes, but they also carried a softness that I didn't deserve. I asked him, "How can you even look at me after this?" He sighed and shook his head. "Because I still love you," he said. Those words hit me like a wave. I won't pretend it doesn't hurt, and I can't say I'll forget it overnight. But I know who you are beyond your mistakes. I know the life we've built together. I know your heart, even when you lost your way. I broke down completely then, my sobs filling the room. He pulled me into his arms, and though his embrace wasn't as tight as before, it was still there. It was proof that he wasn't letting go just yet. That moment felt like a second chance I didn't deserve but was being given anyway. The days that followed weren't easy. Trust, once cracked, doesn't fix itself in an instant. We had long conversations, some filled with tears, others with silence. There were times I thought he might change his mind and leave, but he stayed. He stayed because forgiveness wasn't just about forgetting. It was about choosing to move forward despite the pain. He reminded me daily, not with words but with actions, that love could survive mistakes if both people were willing to fight for it. I did everything I could to rebuild his trust, to show him that my confession was not the end of us but the beginning of something more honest. It took time, patience, and humility on my part. I had to earn back what I had broken, and he had to learn how to let go of the bitterness that wanted to linger. But slowly, day by day, we began to find our rhythm again. One evening months later, he looked at me across the dinner table and smiled the same way he used to. That smile told me more than words ever could, that despite everything, his heart had chosen forgiveness. And in that moment, I realized how rare and precious his love truly was. I will never forget the pain I caused, but I will also never forget the grace he gave me. My confession could have ended our marriage, but instead, it became the turning point that made us stronger. He forgave me in the end, and I promised myself that I would never again take such a gift for granted.